Welcome to Women's Rugby Rundown 209 for July 25th to August 3rd. It's been another 2 whirlwind weeks of Rugby World Cup prep, and 8 World Cup squads were revealed. South Africa stunned the Black Ferns 15 in Cape Town. England ran rampant over Spain, and Canada surged past the USA in front of a record home crowd. Ireland, Japan, and Wallaroos closed out with strong wins, while Brazil shut out Netherlands, and Wales made history with a first ever win on Australian soil. More warm-up matches are ahead as we continue the countdown to the 2025 Rugby World Cup, which opens on August 22nd with England hosting the United States. I'm Wendy, here to bring you the latest in women's rugby news. So this is your Women's Rugby Rundown, and we're about to kick off. Thank you to everyone who supported us while we paused WRR and YSC Rugby over the past month. We stepped away to be with our mom, who recently passed after a rapid and difficult fight with ALS. Your kindness and patience have meant everything. We'll start with 15's news. The Springbok women put in their strongest performance yet with a 41-24 win over the Black Ferns 15, a developmental side. They dominated early and led 24-12 at the break, scoring 7 tries to 4. It's a huge confidence boost as they wrap up their preparations for the World Cup. However, this was a 2-match series, and earlier in the week, the Black Ferns 15 got the better of the Springboks 34-26. The Black Ferns led 34-12 before 2 late tries brought the scoreline a bit closer. The Red Roses ran riot in their opening Rugby World Cup match, beating Spain 97-7 at Welford Road. Helena Rowland grabbed a hat trick, Sarah Burns scored twice, and 10 other players crossed the line in a dominant display. Ireland eased a 14-point deficit to beat Scotland 27-21 in Cork in their first warm-up. 5 different players crossed the line, including a couple of debutantes. It was a strong second half that sealed the win. Canada scored 35 unanswered points to beat the United States 42-10 in front of a record crowd in Ottawa. After trailing late in the first half, the home side flipped the momentum and ran in 6 tries. The United States and Canadian rivalry has always been one of the best in the world, and now we're starting to see fans liking it as well. This match drew a record-setting crowd of 11,453, the largest ever for a standalone women's rugby match in North America. The Wallaroos had a dominant 36-5 win over Wales at North Sydney Oval. That win was a strong response to last week's loss and a fitting send-off for Jo Yapp in her final match on home soil. Earlier in the week, Wales had claimed a historic 21-12 win over Australia. Their first ever win on Australian soil, and their first win under Sean Lynn, their new head coach. Italy then defeated Scotland 34-29, climbing to 6th in the World Rugby rankings ahead of their final warm-up match against Japan. This match is their highest ranking since April 2024 and sets them up for a strong, confident start to the Rugby World Cup. Brazil shut out the Netherlands 22-0 in Sao Paulo, earning a strong win ahead of their Rugby World Cup debut. Japan had a clean sweep over Spain with back-to-back wins 32-19 and the match previously 30-19. Dominant performances from the forward pack and standout finishing from wingers brings them to their 5th straight test victory in 2025. Let's take a look at some of the squads that have been announced ahead of the Rugby World Cup. Australia injured trio Charlotte Caslick, Sio Kapase, Palu, and Brianna Hoy have been selected. Brazil will be going to their first ever Rugby World Cup, and they will be led by Luisa Campos and Raquel Cacan, both with 3 Olympic appearances, the latter of which was Team Brazil flag bearer at the Paris 2024 opening ceremony. For Canada, 21 players will return from the 2021 Rugby World Cup, including veterans Tyson Bookaboom, Olivia DeMerchant, and Karen Packin, who will all represent Canada at the Rugby World Cup for the 4th time. England comes with 24 of their group with Rugby World Cup experience, including captain Zoe Aldcroft, who will compete in her 3rd, and Emily Scarrett, who plays in her 5th World Cup. France has some surprises in their squad, a couple of uncapped players, along with a lot of Rugby World Cup experience, and they're also relying on 7s players, and then 11 have been selected from the championship side, Stade Bordelais. Japan is coming with the experience and leadership. The squad averages 22 test caps per player, with 12 players earning 25 caps or more, and only 3 with fewer than 10. Kelly Brazier will lead the Black Ferns, the defending champions. It'll be her 4th Rugby World Cup, while Portia Woodman-Wycliffe, Teresa Setafano, and Stacey Waka will have their 3rd appearance. Samoa will be bringing a squad of 32 debutantes. Yes, you heard me right. 32 debutantes because the last World Cup they competed in was in 2014. RWC prep continues this weekend. August 8th, Fiji versus Samoa, Ireland versus Canada, Italy and Japan, France versus England on the 9th. And then, of course, you can see we're getting into the Rugby World Cup and we're starting to get into business. Now let's take a look at Premier and Club news. The 2025 USA Club Sevens Rugby National Championships take place this weekend in Madison United and Wisconsin Rugby Complex in Cottage Grove, Wisconsin. The Scions will defend their championship, but we've got some big dogs in the race. It'll be a good one. The Copa do Brasil Women's Rugby Championship will wrap up this weekend as Molina faces Plough in the final. In New Zealand, the Bunnings Warehouse Farrah Palmer Cup will kick off this weekend, marking the start of 9 weeks of provincial women's rugby action. Waikato enters the season as defending premiership championships, while Manawatu moves up from winning last year's championship. That does it for us. Of course, there's more news on our site at yscrugby.com. Never miss an episode of Women's Rugby Rundown by subscribing on Spotify, Patreon, YouTube, or your favorite social media platform.